Hello, I'm Rosemarie Nichols McGee from Nichols Garden Nursery in Albany, Oregon, and today we're going to talk about making a lavender wand. The first thing that I'm doing with this is getting my stems. You always go with an odd number. I've made lavender wands with anywhere from 13 to 23 stems in this because you're going to be weaving, and it doesn't come out right if the numbers are even. So right now I'm just kind of cleaning up these stems, getting extra odd bits and pieces of tissue off of it, and in a little bit we will tie a cage. We'll tie our string right around the edge here, and at this point this is getting kind of messy down here at the end, and we'll just clip that off. Now, this is the ribbon we're using. You can use a variety of colors, and I just happen to have this nice bright one today. Blue is really pretty. Lavender is great. Now, look what I'm doing here. I am just tying a single slip knot in here and cinching it up right below the flower stem. And then we're going to form a cage. We're going to bend each of these stems back over that. And one of the things that I have learned is that you give a little cinch with your thumbnail there, and you're much less likely to break the stems when you're doing this. And the broken stems don't look real good. And we call it a cage because it's going to look just like a little barrel with all of these lavender stems in there. Okay, so we're beginning to do this weave. We're going over, and then I'm going to lift up the one that's right beside it and go under. And it gets a little, it's repetitive at this point, and you always worry that something's going to go wrong until you've got the first couple rounds made. The other thing about at this stage, if you're making this for somebody special, and you might want to do something like write their name and slip it inside this little cage or barrel. I know that I'm making this for a friend who's having some serious health issues right now, and his wife suggested that I make him one with a crystal in it that she has. So I'm putting that, I will put that inside this along with his name, and you know, I love Rosemarie. These things are sentimental, so you might as well just go with the flow with that and make them something a little special when it is for someone you know. So I'm going to just kind of work on this, and we'll be back in a little bit in a moment after it's taken shape. Well, we're back. I've made the second round here, and I'm starting the third circle, and if you can just see, we're starting to see a weave pattern in here that looks like our basket. It can be a little frustrating getting those first couple rounds where you're going under and over, and you'll start, and then you have to pull out your ribbon and go back a few steps and start over again. But after you have that second one in place, it becomes pretty smooth. I should also mention that I'm using a yard of ribbon here for this, and that's pretty standard. And then we'll tie it off at the bottom when we're finished. And getting through this bulky area here is important, and I pull these very tightly as I'm working. Some instructions will say to just let it dry for a couple of days and then come back and reweave and put a drop of glue on it to hold it in place. I don't recommend that. I think get it nice and tight when you're doing it, and it should hold, and you just keep pulling it like this as you go along. Okay, we'll be back again with a little more progress. Well, the weaving's finished. There are flaws here. I haven't made one for a while. but it's very, very fragrant. Lavender is soothing, and one of the things when you do make a flaw, or I do with something like this, I'm reminded of an Indian basket that my mother had that was just perfectly woven. It was wonderful design in it, except it had one flaw. And I loved this basket because I could find the one flaw set against all the other parts of it that were so wonderful. So the next step with this is to tie it off and put a ribbon at the end and do a clip. Before we leave, a couple of things I'd like to show you that can be done with lavender. One is a simple sachet, like as this, where you just fill it with the lavender buds, give it a crush. I know one friend who keeps it hanging by her desk. Work gets a little tense, she grabs that bag and, yes, lavender is relaxing. And the other is, it's nice to just hang these and other flowers up to dry, but don't use a rubber band like this, because as the stems dry, they're going to become just a little skinnier, and you don't want them slipping out of the elastic. So I think this ends it for today, and you can do quite a bit with lavender, and it dries well. I've even taken some that was 5 or 6 years old and stuck it in the microwave for 10 seconds, and it seems like all the oil has just come back out again, and it's fresh as can be. So I'm Rosemary Nichols McGee from Nichols Garden Nursery. We carry a wide variety of lavender plants in our catalog. We have Northwest Essential Lavender Oil, and we have lavender seeds. You can see us at www.nicholsgardennursery.com.